Hello, as I said, my name is Kate Taylor, and I am here in the capacity as a life design and empowerment coach. And my mission and my work is really about helping those people who I work with, women like yourself, the future leaders, the future people who are out there doing this work in the world, making a positive difference, to live and work a big, bold, beautiful life. That means feeling empowered from the inside out to get out there, be unapologetic, and share exactly who you are, get visible, and get out there doing the work that is so needed in the world. My background and the reason I'm here doing this work is that I used to work in corporate life. I worked in advertising agency worlds in London for oh goodness, good 15 to 20 years of my life. I've always had a marketing background. And my background was in really helping people to step into the fullest versions of themselves. It started off in a marketing capacity, but actually my superpowers are really helping people to grow and develop and shape exactly what it is that they want to do in the world. That's what lights me up from the inside out. And I am lucky enough to be able to do this job in the world. Hashtag best job ever. Also, I'm an overzealous Bedlington hugger. If you don't want to know what Bedlington is, he's a Bedlington Terrier, a little dog. He's not with me today because he decided that he wanted to scratch up and make loads of noise while I was recording this. So he's out living his best life downstairs. But this is who I am. This is what I'm about. And I am so excited to be sharing this session with you because this is all about powering up your potency to live and work a big, bold, beautiful life. And really now is such an important time in all of our lives, particularly in yours, as you're on the precipice of a new career and whatever it is that you're going to be doing in the world. Because every single one of us has been through a huge period of transition, not just in the last 18 months, but beyond. And we are forever going to be changed. And I feel like this is a really incredible, unique opportunity where we can understand more about ourselves and gain a sense of self-awareness so that we can take what we've learned through really challenging times and use that as a force, as a power for good. Because some of what we've been through is really tough. Some of what you've been through has been incredibly hard. And all of it will bring an incredible amount of learning, an incredible amount of growth, and an incredible opportunity to develop and explore the possibilities that are going to come out of this time. So after some of the biggest challenges we can ever have in our lives, and this goes on every single level, this goes in your professional career, in your personal life, after some of the biggest challenges, there is a comeback. And it's this moment in time that gets to be yours. So whatever you do from here gets to build learning, knowledge, awareness, and most importantly, resilience. Resilience is the absolute key. It's why humans have walked the planet for as long as they have. It's why we've had evolution. And it's where we get to build and grow stronger from where we've had those moments of challenge. So I love doing talks on the power of resilience and how it gets to create the potency of who you are as an individual and how you get to help and shape and form the collective. Because for me, it is everything that I have learned as a human being. Everything about the opportunity that when something doesn't go to plan, I can build back and I can bounce back stronger. So I was looking at some old notes when I was asked to do this talk. I was having a look at some old notes when I've done this kind of talk before. And what really got my attention was just how so relevant everything about resilience is and the power within it. So when I was looking back and looking at notes, these are the things that came up. Resilience gives us the opportunity to take more risks. If you come from somewhere where you've been quite risk averse, resilience is the power to be able to take more risks, to stretch yourself wider, to get yourself out there, to build opportunities. Resilience also allows you the exploration of creativity. And when I talk about creativity in the sense of us as human beings, It's the essence of creativity. It's not something that you do, it's not something you paint or how you draw. It's that we are all, and you are, a creative being. By thinking, feeling, coming up with solutions, changing ways that you do things, whatever it is, everything about you is creative. We are all creative at source. The power of resilience also enables you to be really vulnerable. Vulnerability is absolutely a superpower and a strength, and it allows us to take a look at things when they don't work out, be really open and honest about it, share how we're feeling, and then helps us to grow from that place. It's where courage comes from, bravery comes from, this absolute essence of resilience. Resilience is also about how we can then respond better when things don't go to plan. And my goodness, I don't think any of us saw what was coming over the last 18 months. So allowing ourselves to explore how we respond from this point forwards when things didn't come to plan, and you will have noticed this in all of the things that you have done over the last 18 months. The power of resilience helps you to grow and fortitude from this place. It also, oh my goodness, isn't this one, finding meaning in ordinary and difficult events. We have had the complexity of, over the last 18 months, having to find meaning in the day-to-day, in the mundane, when we haven't been able to get outside and explore the world in the ways that we normally would do, and having to deal with some of the ordinary things that have happened, along with some of the biggest and most difficult challenges we're ever going to have in our lives. And that will be individual to you. It will be unique to you. Your experience is your experience, as my experience is my experience. So helping us to find meaning in the most mundane and the most incredible events that have happened, there really isn't a time more relevant to this than now. Resilience also allows us to explore the world around us, and now the doors are opening up more. It gives us the opportunity to see things in a different way. We will never take for granted the things that we took for granted before. And I really encourage you, as you go through from this point forward, with every interaction that you have, whether it's in your professional life, in your personal life, to explore it in a way through different lenses, because we are forever changed. And we are, as human beings, incredible at bouncing back. And this is the fundamental point about resilience. It is that bounce back ability. So even when things have been tough, how you can bounce back from those challenges, being stronger, being wiser, being more vulnerable, being changed. You know, you may never be the same again, and that's okay. That is okay. So this is the power of resilience. And fundamentally, we are here, all of us, on our own journey. And resilience and the power and the potency is about how we learn and how we adapt and how we evolve in that. As this saying goes, you can't change the wind, but you can adjust your sails. So what I'm sharing with you is going to give you tools for life, and it's going to be incredibly powerful and useful to you in your career and in your personal life. In your personal life, because it's about understanding what's taken place and moving through with your empathetic, strength, and compassionate self. In your professional career, it's about learning to test, learn, and adapt and be solutions focused. And whilst I know that you bring your whole self into work, so you can bring your compassionate, resilient, resourceful self, your empathetic self, and your strength in yourself, that is going to be a huge, huge addition to whatever it is you're doing from a professional point of view. So let's get to it. I'm going to share with you some ways in which you can help to power your potency through resilience. And number one is one of my favorites. It's about learning to love failure. Now, often when I share this, I ask people in the room, put your hands up if you love failing, or if you find it a struggle. So do this for me. May feel a bit weird. Don't worry about it. But do you love failing? Yes or no? Put your hand up if it's a yes, but the other hand up if it's a no. Let me also know, just for yourself as well, I will hear it on the other side. Don't worry. If the fear of failing has stopped you from doing anything before, just think for a moment. When has the fear of getting things wrong stopped you? Or when something hasn't gone immediately to plan, or something's happened in the aftermath that you've gone, it's my fault, it's something I've done. And it might have affected your self-esteem, or you might have taken it personally. Now, that is completely normal. It's what we do as human beings. But the challenge is about that is what we equate failing to is a fault within ourselves. And that can be really debilitating. So failing is something that can hold us back. But actually, if we let it hold us back completely, there would be nothing in this world, right? If you think about some of the biggest failures that there's ever been, I'm going to say a few names: J.K. Rowling, Walt Disney, Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, all of these, and there's countless, all of us. We're all failures. Countless people have failed in one way or another. Walt Disney, he was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination and never coming up with original ideas. J.K. Rowling, she had been living on state benefits and rejected from 12 publishing houses before a tiny independent gave her her first chance and the small advance of writing Harry Potter. Richard Branson, I mean, he has lost count of the number of businesses that have failed. Steve Jobs, for example, he was depressed and devastated after being sacked from Apple. He was removed from the company when he was 30 years old. It was a company he founded. But what would have happened if these people had stopped at that point and they said, I'm a failure, I'm never going to do anything, I'm going to completely give this up? We wouldn't have Mickey Mouse, we wouldn't have Harry Potter, and we wouldn't have these incredible devices in our hands. And what kind of world would that be if we didn't have those things, if we didn't have failures in the world? And this is the thing. Resilience is all about problem solving. This slide says it all. There are things that you beat yourself up for that are completely out of your control, that everybody's completely forgotten about, or nobody else has even noticed before. So resilience and failure go hand in hand because they're all about inner resolve. And what happens is that we can't solve problems from the same thinking that got us into those challenges in the first place. And resilient people don't make those same mistakes again and again. So if you think about resilience and you think about the mistakes that you make, if we just stop at one point, that's a mistake in itself. If you make the same mistake twice, well, then that's a challenge. If you make it a third time, you really need to be looking at that, right? But what we always do is look back. What didn't work? What worked out? And understand what it is about it that we can learn from to adapt and move forward. So resilient people really honest about looking at why they failed and take the time to think about what didn't work within it. Not why they didn't work within it, but what it was about it. And maybe there were some personal attributes. Maybe there were some things that got in the way of getting to where they wanted to get to. But that means that we can look at it from an objective point of view without saying I'm flawed, saying let me understand what happened here. So that every hiccup, every mistake, every wrinkle that we ever gain just gives us information. And information is the key because it helps us to persevere. It helps us to start again effectively. It helps us to make things better than they were before. Because failure is a rich fuel for success. And resilience is part of a very creative process. It helps us to build emotional muscle. So if you can work with the idea that failure is no such thing, in fact, it's a non-word, and actually what it is feedback. It's information. it's also learning. So, thinking about it from the point of view that progress, not perfection. No such thing as perfection, only progress. Focus on that progress. Celebrate every single little step. Celebrate every failure. Celebrate every mistake. Celebrate every learning. Something I do with all of my clients, because it's actually in those moments they get to understand so much more about themselves. Focus on the journey that you're on, not just the destination. You know, this is going to come up when you're going out for jobs. This is going to come up when you're doing projects. This is going to come up in every walk and stage of your life. It is about the vision that you're here to create, what it is that you want to do, not the little steps to get there. So focus on what's going well, build on that, and build on the momentum. Because when you have an understanding, when you understand that the role that you have to play in what you're doing may or may not have contributed to success or failure, it's just irrelevant. It just is information. And allowing yourself to be objective with this view, to give compassion everywhere, every single step of the journey, really enables you to take the objective view, give yourself a compassionate outlook. And it's also the desire to want to do better. And how can you be part of that change? You are an incredible resource to this world. So how can you be part of the change, not part of the problem? And it starts with getting really to understand, all of us, what our parts to play are. So there's an ancient Japanese proverb that says, fall down 7 times, get up 8. And what that means is pick yourself up as many times as it takes, because failure isn't about falling down, but it's about refusing to get up. And it's this tenacity to be resilient, to never quit, unless you really need to. But there's another way of looking at this, and it says, fall down 7 times and get up 8, and rest for a moment and decide if falling down is working for you. This is all about embracing the idea of failing forward, and I love this idea of failing forward. What it says is it gives us a different viewpoint, and it says, look, we're all going to fail. It is part of life as much as successes. In fact, they're just complete opposite sides of the thing that mean nothing and everything all at the same time. But if we can embrace this idea that we're going to get things wrong and actually build that into what we're doing, then it allows us to be much more objective. It removes that sting that it says it's something wrong with me, because it's not. What failing forward allows you to do is remove that internalization and get information and be objective about what has happened. Get the objective viewpoint, rise above the situation and have a look down on it. Remove the internalization. If something doesn't go to plan, it doesn't mean that you're flawed. Instead, it gives you information. I'm going to keep saying this so that you can really feel it. And what we tend to do as humans, and this is why I love getting information out of failing, is because as humans, what we tend to do is delete, distort, or generalize information. So what might be happening is, that thing didn't work out for me. I didn't get the grade I wanted, or this thing didn't go wrong. I got some bad feedback, whatever. And what we tend to do as humans is delete the good bits. You know, when somebody gives you constructive feedback, we tend to listen for the negative. So we delete all the good bits, or we distort it. That person said that. That means that they absolutely hate me, or whatever is going on. We distort the information. Or what we do is generalize. I get this wrong all the time. I just can't do this kind of thing. I'm no good at that. Or people like me, or people like them. So what we're doing is deleting, distorting, and generalizing information. That is why it's really, really good for you to rest and understand through the process of gaining information, getting really curious about what happened. And this is an essential part of the test, learn, adapt, and move on skill in your careers, but in yourself as well. And then helping you to frame this into building a resilience within yourself. So I just for a moment, write these things down. This is going to be an essential part of your resilience toolkit and learning from failure moving forward. So, number one, whenever anything doesn't go to plan, what was it that worked really well? So, what elements of the plan really worked well? Write these things down, just these questions. What worked well? What about them worked well? The second part is what elements didn't work well or didn't go to plan? The third part is what could be improved and what can be removed. What could be improved and what can be removed. And then the fourth part is what is the learning opportunity here about this failure? Those four questions will get you through everything. When you go into project work, those will be the things that you will take into your scrums, into your stand-ups. But knowing this for yourself and doing this every time will really help you to move forward. Okay, that's failure. So let's move forward into the next thing, which is about SWOTing up. So doing a SWOT, if you've heard of a SWOT analysis before, maybe you've done this at uni, maybe you've done this in some work experience, you will get to know it very, very, very well in a business sense. So what it stands for is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it's something that I love. I used to use this in corporate days, but it's something I really love to use in my business, but it's also something I really love to use with my clients to get them to really understand the personal qualities that they have. Because understanding what our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are really helps us to reframe any challenges into opportunities, right? And it really helps you to believe, to promote positive beliefs about your ability. It allows you to be adaptable, it allows you to pivot, and these are definitely things that we need when we're talking about building resilience. Also allows you to embrace change rather than fearing it, which is huge. So important. You know, as we've seen from the last 18 months, nothing is ever certain. We've got to be able to embrace change. So let's look at this. So strengths is about your resilience. We get stronger by embracing, you get stronger by embracing what your strengths are. And as human beings, it's not something we naturally do to go and do this work and find out what our strengths are, but it's so actively encouraged when you are bringing all of yourself into what you're doing. Learning is what comes from when you are exploring your weaknesses. It's not that they are weaknesses, it's just that you get to understand and help and develop your weaknesses to become your strengths. That's what I love about this, because there is no such thing as a weakness, it's a strength waiting to happen. The opportunities are when we start looking out for, even when times get tough, that there are opportunities in every single little thing, everywhere, when we start looking for them. When we get our heads out of the fear, out of the reasons why we can't do something, you can explore opportunities in all areas. And it's also really important to get very real, understanding what the threats are. And we're talking about threats here in terms of, you know, when I think about business, what competitors are doing, what's the landscape like, why might this fail, how might this fail. Really getting to understand that and get that information is really important, because we can, again, turn those into opportunities. So you think about the one half being weaknesses and threats, actually all they are is strengths and opportunities waiting to happen. So this is an exercise that will take you about 5 or 10 minutes. And it's something that you can do now. It's also something you can do after this session as well. And I would encourage you to come back to it again and again and again in different environments and different situations. So take a piece of paper, write down in 4 quadrants: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. And then write down a list of all your own personal strengths. These are things that you might be good at. These might be your inner resolve. These could be things that you just know you've got a skill for. And if you're not sure, they're also part of your personality. So if you're not sure and you find this difficult, then go and ask somebody. Go and ask your best friend. Go and ask your parents. Go and ask your brothers, your sisters, anybody who's going to really give you the opportunity to explore, and ask them, what do you think are my key strengths? That's it. And ask them and listen and write them down. Then in the other quadrant, you're going to write what your perceived weaknesses are. This is something you do for yourself. Don't ask other people, and don't get too attached to it. So what of these are true? What are your weaknesses? What are true? And what are the stories that you might be telling yourself about those? Because the stories are where we can understand. So having a look at your weaknesses, and it might be that they're just skills that you don't yet have that you would like. So where are there things that are missing that you might like to have? This is not you bagging on yourself. This is just the strengths that you don't yet have that you would like. Okay. Then in the third quadrant, your opportunities, you're going to write a list of things you could do, that you want to do. So what's available to you? What could you create? Who could you get to support you? So where, when, and how? Like, what are these things and who? Where are there opportunities that you could find that would help you to create more of your strengths and strengths from the weaknesses? This is why I say this exercise is really good to do in different ways. So you can do this as a personal review. You could do this as a career review. You could do this as a project review. All good in every area. So that's your opportunities. And then have a look at your threats. So these are the things, the challenges that you've got, the things that could scupper you, the things that could hold you back, the things that you can identify that are a problem for you right now. And then have a look at the list, and against any of those threats, have a look for any one that you could turn into an opportunity for growth and development. So say, for example, we're looking at this from a point of view of getting a job, right? Or out of the session that you have today. And you're looking at it and you're like, there's a lot of people going for this, and I don't feel that I've got a skill in one particular area. That's a threat. So what you can do is have a look and see, okay, there's an opportunity there, because what I could actually do is learn more about something in that area that's going to give me more power to what it is that I want to do. So that's how you turn your weaknesses and your threats into opportunity, is looking at where something might be lacking and how you can create strength or opportunity out of it. And then what you have a look, and you're working out the threats with an O next to it, and you can filter or freeze it. So you can decide, is this going to really help me to where I want to get to? And if it isn't, you take it out, you put a line through it. Or if there's something there, you can freeze it. Which ones don't have to be activated straight away? You don't throw them away, you put them somewhere that you can come back to. And what that can do is you either filter something out or you freeze it, and you have a look at any of the actions that might be left from those potential opportunities. So it might be that you've got something there, somebody's going to help you with your CV, somebody's going to help you with a connection. Those are things that you can action straight away from this point forwards, from that SWOT analysis. So like I say, come back to this exercise whenever you like. And I love this exercise because what it does is it enables us to learn from the challenges, learn from the weaknesses and the threats, and lean into the strengths. It gives us information. That's all it is, information that then helps us to build a plan, to grow, to be adaptable, to be resilient and helps us to lean into those strengths that we can come back to time and time again. I really encourage you to do that exercise on learning your strengths, learning what people see in you, and learning what you know about yourself, because these are going to be the things that in the darkest moments, they put a chink of light in there. And it creates a neuroplasticity in the brain and an empowerment to say, yeah, okay, that may have been hard, but I know I've got this skill, this strength. I know that I can do that. Here's the evidence. So learn from your challenges and lean into the strengths. Right, let's move forward to the power of connection, collaboration, and creativity. So the power of potency really is in people and projects. The thing that I love most in the world is working with people and working on something. And this is where we can bring everything together. Connection, collaboration, and creativity. These are the key building blocks for your career, for everything moving forward. These will be within the roles that you're going to be stepping into, because you'll be working in teams, you'll be connecting people, collaborating with people, finding creative solutions for doing things, but also externally. So what can you start doing from now that is additional to the work that you do, that creates a sense of connection, collaboration, creativity, and community? That is what's going to give you power in your potency above everything else. And where it comes from is strength in relationships. Because healthy relationships are the key to creating and building resilience in every single area, because resilient people maintain strong relationships, strong and supportive relationships, both personally and professionally. So you can build your resilience by surrounding yourself with a brilliant support network of people, and that can be made up of your friends, your family, like-minded people in your community, your colleagues, a mentor, a coach, and a therapist as well. So knowing that you've got a group of people around you who are your support system is really fundamental for the power in your potency. So make sure that you build up a circle of objective and trusted sponsors. These aren't just people that are going to tell you everything's great, but they're also going to be really honest with you, because from that point is your learning growth, but they're supportive. These are people who are really going to help you to grow. So don't be afraid to ask, because the thing that I have learned in working with corporates and working in working environments is everybody puts on a face like they have to have it all sorted out. And there's a lot of people who don't know the answers. And if we're being vulnerable, if we're really understanding what it means to be human, then it means that we can grow amongst each other. It means that we can ask the questions. So this is really important, to allow yourself the space and be in environments where you can share how you're feeling about things and getting them out of your head. 99% of the time, people are struggling with things that go round and round and round in their mind because they're not sharing what it is that's making them feel helpless, or they're worried about, or is causing anxiety. And the average human, this statistic blows my mind, the average human has 90% of the same thoughts from day to day to day. Well, it means we're clogging up our brains with a lot of information. There's the same shizzle going round and round, and 80% of those thoughts are negative. So that's why it's really important to share your worries, share your concerns, share your failures, perceived failures, as a way of clearing some of that space. Because when we're sharing our problems, we can find solutions to them with other people. That's why it's important to have a trusted support network of people around you. Somebody who is saying, I understand, I see you, I hear you, and also I feel like that too. Makes you feel much more adaptable to what it is that's in front of you. And it helps you gain a different perspective. also helps you to develop empathy because you're able to put yourself in situations and in the shoes of others who've also experienced the same things as you. So, learning to be collaborative, communicative, be creative really helps you. Seek out as much support as you ask for. Get together with people, choose your response to things. Also, don't make it personal because all of us are trying to find meaning in things, and people who have resilience don't blame themselves or other people when things happen. What it is it helps us to adapt and adopt that feedback culture. And this is something that's going to really help you in growth in your personal development and your professional development. Ask for feedback, be solutions focused. And as this slide says, if you're feeling helpless out there, then go and find somebody else that you can help. That is such a key of building empathy and resilience. Okay, let's move forward. My favorite, celebrating your uniqueness. Because what you stand for, what makes you unique, what you believe in, how you're going to change the world in your career and your professional life. You wouldn't be here if you weren't here for a reason. You didn't have some purpose to be here. And so the job that you're going into, the background that you have, the culture that you are in, the community that you're in, what you're here to do with the planet at this time is your mark on the world. It's your legacy and you are creating it right now. And what that means is that bringing your whole self into being, what you're here to do. So it's really important for you to celebrate all that you are and don't hide it away. This is about becoming visible, embracing that we are all different. So whether you're a quiet person, whether you're louder, whether you're introvert, whether you're extrovert, whether you're a bit of both, whether you are better written or verbal, really do support and celebrate all that makes you you. Because we need more of this in work environments, in professional environments. This isn't about inclusion, this is about a culture of celebrating all of us and our unique gifts, skills, and abilities. And so, what can you do to bring all of yourself into being? And if you are in a place that you don't feel supports that, what can you do to be creative, to be visible, to be vocal so that you can help change the culture of somewhere to celebrate uniqueness of every person? Because every single person in any working environment has a role to play, has a reason for being there. You are different to the next person and you will all bring something to the table because you are entirely unique. There is nobody else out there like you. There's nobody else out there like me. You're as unique as your fingerprint and you have something. So you are made up of your stories, your challenges, your triumphs, your culture, your background, your failures, your journey, your passions, your pains. All of it is your authenticity. And when we can share much more on this level, it means that we can bring our whole selves into what we're doing and make these spaces and places a space for growth. Because every time you try and be and emulate like somebody else, you're going to lose a bit of yourself. And we don't want that. As humans, we understand storytelling, we understand human connection. And when we can really be in spaces that we can do that, it empowers resilience and empowers creativity and it fosters collaboration, it fosters community. And regardless of what job you're doing, all of that is needed. All of it. Okay. Invest in your care. This is a really fundamental part of powering up your potency because without you, there is nothing. So this is really about the pillars of self-care. Pillars of self-care are not just about having a nice bubble bath, lighting a candle, eating some chocolate. It is so fundamental to everything. And your pillars of self-care really are on your physical care, your psychological care, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being, professional and personal, and also creativity as well. So what I'm going to do is take you through the 6 pillars of self-care and how these you can get tools, techniques, things that you need in order to invest in this for yourself. So let's start with physical. When we're talking about the physical pillar of well-being, it's ensuring about your exercise, your sleep, unplugging, healthy eating, your sexual health, and making sure your physical being is looked after. Your mental well-being, the cornerstone of that is around therapy, if should you need it, journaling, self-reflection, talking, relaxation techniques, asking for help when you need it, doing something creative, something that's going to give you different ways of looking at things, and also having a safe space. So when we're talking about vulnerability and having some like-minded people that you can have a support network with, that's it here. That's good for your mental well-being. Your emotional well-being, laughter, having hobbies, practicing self-love, hugely important. Being able to honor your emotions. All emotions within resilience and your potency are welcome. Do not let anybody tell you that they are not. It's forgiveness, it's compassion, it's also having time with people that you love, that support you, that make you feel good, and animals too. That's why I'm an overzealous Bedlington hugger. Your spiritual well-being. This is about getting time outdoors, spending time in nature, meditation, volunteering, giving back. You know, if you're feeling helpless, help someone. This is holistic practices. This may be your prayer. This is about inspiration, being inspired, anything that makes you connect to that something more, which is why you are here. And then your professional well-being. So this is making sure that you are looked after and are looking yourself within your professional environment. So leaving work at work, that tends to be something that I've seen over the last 18 months can be a little bit of tricky because we are working more remotely. But it means that when you close your laptop or your computer for work, that you leave it there. It means taking holiday, having sick and mental health days. It means planning your next career, where your next resilience and next move to, taking lunch, making sure you have regular breaks, not working during your days off, and having healthy boundaries. So setting healthy boundaries from the very, very, very beginning about what you're available for and what you're not available for. This is challenging in a world of work, but actually it's something that needs to be honored much more. And also developing your own skills. So this isn't just about developing your professional skills, but also your personal skills within the workplace, because remember, you're bringing your whole self to work. It's also about your personal well-being. Creating a vision board. I love a vision board. What is it that you want for the future? It's about managing your finances, establishing and creating goals where you want to get to over the next year, the next 5 years, having time with your loved ones, making sure that you have time for self-development, and also understanding your personal values. And what I mean by personal values are what's important to you. Again, a real cornerstone of understanding and creating resilience for yourself is understanding who you are as a person. What's going to be a value for you is going to be different to somebody that you're going to be working with or somebody you might even be sitting next to. So when you understand what's important to you, you can understand what's important to the next person, and how you can bring all of that together. So for the next 5 or 10 minutes, hit pause on this session and write down, what could a self-care routine look like for you over the next week, the next month, that takes on board physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, professional well-being, and personal well-being. So have a look at what I've shared here and come up with your own self-care plan. Okay, so here we are on the last of the things that I'm sharing with you today about powering up your potency. Is about compassion. Such a beautiful, incredible thing to have. Compassion and empathy are the cornerstones of effective leadership. And when I talk about effective leadership, you are a leader, whether you're a leader now or a future leader. You are the leader of your life, you're the leader of your career, and what you have is so incredibly important. Compassion and empathy are going to be the future currency that we have. They already are, but they are going to become much stronger and more valued skills within workplaces, within life. So compassion and empathy is needed much more than ever before in the world that we live in. It gives us the opportunity for growth. Even when somebody has a different viewpoint to you, a different objective, a different way of thinking and feeling, having compassion is the most important thing we can do. We may not have to agree with everybody, but if we can be compassionate for ourselves and for that other person, it means that we can grow and gain strength from that. So one of the things I learned very, very early on in my coaching journey was from an incredible book by a man called Stephen R. Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's one of these ones that's always stuck with me. And what this simple idea is: seek first to understand. Seek first to understand. So if you are coming and meeting with somebody who has a different viewpoint to you, they have a different objective, you seek to understand what is going on, even if you don't agree, and be compassionate for that, because people have walked in different shoes. But then stand firm in your compassion and your empathy, because these are incredibly important skills to grow and develop from. You may not have to agree, but if we have compassion and empathy, we can move forward from that place. We can make this world a better place collectively and individually. Because the future of a culture within organizations and with your personal and professional growth and your resilience and your potency comes from your ability to be an incredibly compassionate and empathetic leader of today and the future. Okay, so let's do a roundup in terms of powering your potency and what I've shared with you in this session today. So, number one, learning to love failing, getting a different relationship with failing and how you can start embracing failure into your toolkit for personal resilience. Learning from the challenges, so understanding where there's been issues, challenges, weaknesses, threats in your lives, and how you can then turn them into strengths and into opportunities, and lean into those strengths that you've got, that inner resolve that you've got, those things that you've done that will show you and build that elasticity, the neural elasticity for resolve and resilience moving forward. Your connection, your collaboration, and your creativity to people and to yourself is something that will make you infinitely resourceful. Celebrate your uniqueness, because remember, there is nobody like you, and every single one of you coming together will create something truly powerful. You may have skills and attributes that somebody else doesn't. They may have something that you don't, but collectively, you can create something super powerful. Invest in your self-care, invest in your well-being. It's not just something you save for holidays. It's something that you do each and every day, and you be each and every day to invest in your well-being on all levels. Fundamental for your resilience. And be compassionate, be empathetic, be that future leader who really cares about people, who really listens, and comes from that place of understanding, even when something is different to your viewpoint. That will help us to celebrate all of these things that I've shared and power up not just your resilience, but somebody else's as well. So from this session, just take a moment to review and reflect and write down what have been your ahas, your aha moments, that thing that's got you, that's gone, oh my goodness, this is me. What are the key insights that you're taking away from this session? And what are the things that you want to take away that are going to take you into the rest of this day, but also into your career, into next week, into next month, into next year? Ahas, insights, takeouts. Write them down now. And then finally, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful, even remotely, sharing this session with you. If you want to connect in with me, that you can find me over on LinkedIn, and do let me know if what you've taken away from the session. Tag me in on LinkedIn. I love to see them. So LinkedIn, Kate Taylor Creative Living. I'm on Instagram, hanging out with Bertie. Kate Taylor Creative Living. And if any of you are on Facebook, probably not anymore, I'm also Kate Taylor Creative Living. So drop me a follow, send me a tag, let me know how you're getting on. And if you want to check out more on my website about what I do and how I work, then you can find me over there as well. But thank you so much. It's been wonderful sharing this time with you, and good luck for everything that you do moving forward from this point with powering up your potency.